At dusk falls, grass rising chest high, the last light of day fading. The young hunter hears a sound behind him, faint, but enough to make him stop. He turns his head. To yellow eyes catch what little light remains. A cave lion, far bigger than any lion alive today. No gun, no knife, not even a sharpened stick in his hand right now. His teeth aren't sharp. His nails are useless against those claws. He can't outrun it. He can't outclimb it. He can't beat it through raw strength. And yet, hundreds of thousands of years later, his descendants are still here. That cave lion, and nearly every giant predator that lived alongside it, is gone. The question was never who was stronger, it's what let the weakest player in that game become the one who survived. Before we talk about survival, we need to understand exactly what humans back then were up against. The saber-toothed cat, Smilodon fatalis, about 270 kilograms, with two canine teeth nearly 28 centimeters long. It didn't chase its prey. It ambushed from tall grass or near water, then exploded forward in a matter of seconds. One bite to the neck was enough to end everything. The short-faced bear, Arctodus simus, possibly the largest land carnivore North America has ever seen, standing nearly 4 meters tall. Unlike modern bears, which are omnivores, the short-faced bear was almost purely carnivorous and could sprint fast over long distances. The cave hyena, noticeably bigger than modern hyenas, with a bite strong enough to crush bone for the marrow inside. They hunted in packs of dozens, worked together closely, and were most active at night, exactly when human eyesight is at its worst. The dire wolf hunted in large packs. The cave lion, considerably bigger than today's African lion, also hunted in groups. In the Americas, there was even a terror bird standing 3 meters tall, its beak strong enough to crack a skull. Almost everywhere humans set foot, something was already trying to turn them into a meal. And humans back then had almost nothing to defend themselves with, in the most literal sense. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, are many times stronger than an adult human, with sharp canines and blazing fast climbing speed. And yet chimpanzees are still regularly killed by leopards. If even chimpanzees can't fight back, early human ancestors were likely far worse off. In 1924, paleoanthropologist Raymond Dart discovered a skull in South Africa that completely changed our understanding of this era. The skull belonged to a child about 3 years old, an early human ancestor. Piercing the eye sockets were two puncture marks, spaced exactly to match the fangs of a leopard. That child wasn't the victim of some freak accident, it was prey, in the truest sense of the word. For millions of years, human ancestors were not the apex predators of their world. For most of that time, humans were prey, hunted by creatures that had spent millions of years evolving to kill large animals. This wasn't some brief phase, this is most of humanity's own evolutionary history. So what changed that? The first weapon wasn't a sharp tool, it was something no predator dared to cross: fire. At Wonderwar Cave, South Africa, archaeologists found evidence of deliberate fire control dating back about 1 million years, burnt bone, ash, and traces of ancient hearths. A campfire creates a safe zone with a radius of roughly 9 meters around it. Inside that zone, almost no predator dares to enter. The fear of fire seems to be hardwired into their instincts. Even African lions today still instinctively avoid campfires. Fire brought light into darkness where human eyes simply couldn't see. It brought warmth to a body with no thick fur to fight off the cold. But more important than anything else, fire bought time. Before fire, once the sun set, the only option was to find shelter and lie completely still until morning. After fire, every night gained a few extra hours for crafting tools, planning, talking, and passing on knowledge. Fire also cooked food, and cooked meat is easier to digest and provides far more energy than raw meat. More energy meant the body could invest more in a bigger brain, and a bigger brain solved problems better. But fire only helped at night. During the day, humans still had to find food among predators far faster than themselves. Humans are terrible sprinters. The saber-toothed cat can reach top speed in just a few seconds. But there's one thing almost no predator can do: run steadily for hours on end. This is called persistence hunting, not chasing prey with speed, but tracking it with a slow, unrelenting pace that never stops. The prey sprints, stops to rest, sprints again, while the hunter keeps the exact same steady pace right behind it. Most animals can't sweat as efficiently as humans, and can't cool down while still moving. After a few hours, the exhausted prey collapses from heat stroke, and the hunter simply walks up and finishes it with a rock or a spear. Humans are almost the only species on Earth capable of doing this. You don't need to be faster than your prey, you just need to outlast it. This ability, honed over hundreds of thousands of years, turned humans from something that could only flee into something that could actively hunt. A broken branch means something just passed through here. Disturbed dirt means something was just digging here. The shape of a footprint can reveal the species, its size, and how long ago it passed by. The human brain gradually evolved to notice patterns this small, a skill first used to find prey, later turned around to avoid becoming prey itself. Saber-toothed cats tend to hunt near water at dusk. Cave lions avoid fire. Short-faced bears usually live alone and defend their own territory. Patterns like these were observed, remembered, and passed down, not by one person, but by an entire community across generations. Each generation didn't have to relearn it from scratch. That knowledge accumulated, growing more detailed and precise over time. This was the very first foundation of what would later become the science of observing nature. But the real weapon that saved humanity wasn't fire, and it wasn't endurance, it was the people around you. In 2001, archaeologists excavated a skeleton at Manisi, Georgia, dated to about 1.8 million years ago. That skeleton belonged to an elderly human ancestor who had lost every single tooth years before he died. Losing all your teeth means you can't chew meat, can't process raw food on your own. This person lived for years after losing his teeth, meaning someone must have chewed his food for him, or prepared it soft enough to swallow. No predator does this for its own kind. A lion that loses all its teeth dies within a short time. A human who lost all their teeth, in that community, was still cared for. At Shanidar Cave, Iraq, researchers found a Neanderthal skeleton dated to about 60,000 years ago. This man had a healed broken arm, was blind in one eye, and suffered from severe arthritis. He lived to around 40, unable to hunt for himself, unable to defend himself, yet his group kept him and cared for him. This is the real difference. Humans didn't just cooperate to survive, they cared for one another, even when it offered no direct survival benefit at all. Wolves also hunt in packs, but that's pure instinct. Humans hunted in groups with a plan, a strategy, assigned roles. One group would drive the prey toward a cliff, while another waited with spears ready, blocking every escape route. The ability to use language to communicate a complex plan, something no other predator has ever managed to do. Throwing a spear from a distance was something almost no predator could ever prepare for, but combined together, they formed a system no predator had ever evolved to counter. Because that system wasn't fixed in their genes, it could learn, adapt, and pass on far faster than any biological evolution ever could. On its own, no single strategy, fire, endurance, observation, cooperation, weapons was enough to save humanity. That's humanity's real advantage, not a single ability, but the ability to keep adapting endlessly. 5 people with spears, working exactly to plan, were fully capable of bringing down a saber-toothed cat weighing hundreds of kilograms. These spears were aerodynamically designed and carefully balanced, capable of killing prey from nearly 9 meters away. At Stingen, Germany, archaeologists excavated several wooden spears dated to roughly 300,000 years ago. Torchlight appears, along with the sound of stones being struck and voices shouting together, forming a wall of chaotic noise. And they did exactly that, again and again, for tens of thousands of years. He stepped back slowly, eyes never leaving the animal, toward the distant glow of campfire light. Humans no longer had to just flee, they began to actively hunt instead. He doesn't panic and run, that would only trigger its predatory instinct harder. The cave lion freezes, reassessing everything at once, the fire, the numbers, the noise. Back to that dusk, with the cave lion closing in on the young hunter. The cave lion advances step by step, close enough now that he can hear the low growl building in its throat. Right then, shouting erupts from the camp. The tribe has spotted the situation and comes rushing. It isn't used to dealing with prey that can summon reinforcements in an instant. Long spears are raised, forming a barrier it cannot push past. After a tense moment that feels endless, the cave lion retreats into the darkness. The young hunter breathes out, legs still shaking, but he knows exactly why he's still alive. Not because he was stronger than that animal. He never was. But because he wasn't alone, and because his group was ready for exactly this moment. That night, like countless other nights throughout human history, survival didn't come from one person, it came from a system. Just a few thousand years after humans arrived, the saber-toothed cat, the cave lion, the short-faced bear, and nearly every giant predator of the Ice Age, vanished one by one. Evolution gave every species one advantage: speed, strength, a powerful bite. But evolution gave humans something else entirely: the ability to learn, adapt, and pass it on faster than any other species. Not fast enough, they learned to trap. Not strong enough, they learned to cooperate. Every weakness became a lesson passed to the next generation. The mightiest predators of the Ice Age are gone. The weakest player in that game is still here, telling this story. For millions of years, humans were nothing but prey, hiding in trees, fleeing the dark, losing children to fierce predators with nothing they could do but grieve. But humans had one thing no predator ever had: the ability to learn from mistakes and teach the next generation not to repeat them. Over time, that alone turned out to be enough.